Well, good morning to you on this Sunday, June 22nd, 1997, from Helena, Montana, the state capital of this great state. Just checked out of our lodgings, had breakfast about an hour ago, and are now heading out for one of our last days of activities as this vacation winds down to a precious few days. Well, we're now at the gates of the Wilderness Recreation Area, about 20 miles north of Helena, and we're ready to take a boat tour of the area, which would have departed at 12 noon.
Too late, I was going to warn you about that. Welcome to Gates to the Mountains this beautiful day. My name is Mel, I'll be your commentator today. Our skipper today is Leanne. We're going downstream about 6.5 miles, but a few words about safety before we proceed. If the need arises for a life vest, if you reach down and grab the wooden part of the seat that you're sitting on, you should find 3 to 5 adult vests underneath each one of those seats. If you're sitting in the very back seat, that won't work. All you'll find is our diesel tanks under there. However, those 2 seats directly in front of you have an extra ration of life vests. Over here on this side, we do have some children's life vests. So if you weigh less than 90 pounds and the need arises, you should use one of those. I don't know why they put those up here by me. I'm obviously not going to float in one of those. Also, it is an old wooden boat. She's been in the water since 1956. For that reason, we ask that you not smoke on board. We really don't want a fire drill. We ask that you stay in the blue part of the boat. Please do not sit, stand, or lean over the white part, even dancing up there. It was actually founded in 1867, a man by the name of Horace Clark. They grow in this canyon where it's quite moist, so we find them on the west-facing and the north-facing slopes. If you look on the other side of the river, you'll notice the trees have longer needles. We get around the corner here, you'll notice on that east-facing slope, there's a lot of grass. Those organisms have an advantage in this canyon where it's drier. We have 2 separate forests here. One, the climax tree, is the ponderosa pine, and the features you see in the rock were formed during a huge glacial flood. If you see some of the mountain goats and I don't, holler.
Oh, cool.
The animal gets the boat as close as she can. We get a good look or maybe even a picture. The goats weren't native here. They were brought down here. It is. If you look to your left over here, you can see 2 large oval openings in the canyon wall. Those are the openings to the largest cave that we found in this canyon to date. Spelunkers or cave explorers can enter the lower left-hand opening, go back into the earth about 100 feet, make a hard horseshoe bend to the right, and use that upper right-hand opening as their exit. This is the same Mississippian limestone that the Lewis and Clark caverns are found in about 100 miles south of here on the Jefferson River. It's called the Madison Formation. There's a European rock dove landing over there. In the city, we call them pigeons. That's one of the very few introduced birds that we see in the canyon. Tim, our manager, the guy helping load the boat back there, has kept a light list, and he's got about 130 birds on that light list, put them on the threatened list, so that's a step in the right direction. If you look to your left, this area of limestone is called a fold. Locally, it has a rather unique name. If you look up on the second bump of rock up here, coming into view right on the horizon right now, you can see a little dead stick. That stick used to have 3 branches. People thought it looked like Neptune's trident or the Devil's pitchfork, and they call this area the Devil's Slide. Here are the layers of limestone that were deposited in a horizontal manner, have been pushed up vertically 90 degrees. And he made a mistake. He marveled at how this river could cut through those marble or granite cliffs. If you look at the cliffs today, it's pretty obvious that there's some other kind of rock besides marble or granite that's two light colors. Well, how could he make such a mistake? When he came through this canyon, it was a day of heavy rainfall. These rocks turn dark gray, almost black, when they get very wet. So it wasn't such a mistake after all. Leanne's taking us in very close. If you look up, you can see what he was marveling about. That's still a pretty ominous sight. When they came through here, it was late in the evening on a cold, very rainy day. This is the first time they entered into the mountains on their whole journey. He was up here with Lewis and Clark. He was quite the accomplished mountain and didn't want to go home. He petitioned Lewis and Clark to allow him to return. They did so with the provision that none of the other voyagers would ask to be released before they got to St. Louis. Lewis and Clark thought it would be good to have an American presence up here in Louisiana. So they were kind of happy to Clark was the first European man to see the Yellowstone National Park area, and it's hard to spend much time in the Intermountain West not hear a John Coulter story or two, so I better tell you one. It seems that John Coulter and John Potts, another one of the voyagers, was working for a man by the name of Manuel Lisa out of Fort Lisa. That's what it is. That's a Native American symbol for death. Death or danger. Now we could read this one in several ways. One, it could simply be one black creek showing another black creek. Hey, don't use that. Could be a black creek on this time. There's a lot of people travel through here trying to get to the buffalo grounds. That could be a panel up there that told those people, hey, don't use our buffalo grounds. That's dangerous to your health. My favorite way of reading that, however, is that cave around the corner. Many people think it's one man's story. It might have been a buffalo hunter that was injured down at home, Hammer, the big helmet bozeman. He made it this far, he died. His family buried him in the cave, and then they wrote his story on the wall. We really don't know. We can make out 5 symbols over there, the rest have faded in time. At one time there was over 100 symbols. What we have is like trying to read 2 or 3 pages in a novel and knowing the whole story. That's pretty tough. We do know that that was a true written language. All the Native Americans in this area could read it. Side again. People on the port side of the boat can take a quick look at the pictographs if you wish. However, this time by the rock face, I'd like to call your attention to this lumpy green plant that's growing on the rock face. On one of Nicholas Hilder's first trips into the canyon, he had a local minister with him, Reverend Dr. Kelsey. Dr. Kelsey was also an amateur botanist. He had his herbal along and he saw that plant. He tried to key it out, couldn't find it. So when he went back to Helena, he did.
Not a little earlier this year. We looked at those plants and they were coming to the rich to clean up my last big lot. Those 12 rich bags still rich stem to clean. If you know anything about moss, you know it doesn't have any of those things. I guess if you're going to make a mistake, you got to name it for yourself and smile a lot, then people think you know what you're doing. If you look that up as Calcea moss, you can find it today, only now it's classified as a rose family. It's a rare and unusual rose, only found 3 places in the world, here in the east coast of the United States. What the kids turned out to do, they get cross up there. The family finally said something like, you know, it's not really broken, so they changed it this year. And they changed it. The cross is getting pretty good. So they wanted to.
Oh, we're now just outside Butte, Montana. Swing around this way and get a look of Our Lady of the Hills up here. And then we see Butte, Montana as we look this direction. This would be Interstate 15 here. It's a good, nice little storm, looks like happening over in this direction. This is where Interstate 15 and Interstate 90 meet up here. You don't see much of anymore. The old cupola roof KFC here in Butte, Montana. Proceeding through Butte, Montana.
At the break of dawn, as his bus left out, she cried. Then standing by her side, that old wind that once again found its way home.
Oh, we're looking out the window of our lodgings here in Butte, Montana. We're all bedded down for the evening. As we look out our window here, you can see some little twinkling lights there. That would be the old historical uptown area of Butte, Montana. And the road here right in front of us is Interstate 90.